Welcome back to another episode of Can't Take Your Call Right Now with me, Lauren Reeves.
And me, Harry Monkhouse. And today is episode 7, and we are continuing with the theme of Outbound, but we have a very special guest. We're joined by Suji, who is head of go-to-market at Trellis. Suji, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. You're our first guest.
First guest.
It's happened, Harry. We now have a podcast where you bring guests on. It's not just the two of
Yeah.
us and shit. We've actually got people with us. This is great.
People might want to listen more now. So we can, let's look at the data. Let's figure out whether it's an us thing or it's a guest thing.
Here's the problem. And these guests will make us better.
Yeah, probably. Do you know what? They will probably all have more to bring to the table than us, because we have very similar views on almost all things.
It's so true. It's so true. Suji, do you want to give a debrief on who you are? Tell us about you. Tell us about your journey and how you've got to where you are today at Trellis.
Yes, so I am Suji and I lead go-to-market at Trellis. So I started out in sales back when I was in high school, literally working at a gym. And then I actually graduated this past year. Last year, technically, 2025. Hold up, it's been going so fast. And so I did sales internships throughout my university, but now I am full-time at Trellis in the startup world. I absolutely love it. I love doing startup. I love doing sales. Also doing LinkedIn branding and everything, which is how I've been able to meet you lovely folks. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and my background.
I love that. I love the fact you did internships. That was not even something that was on my radar when I was at uni, doing a sales internship. That's mental.
Yeah. I needed to make extra money, so you know what? College in the US is very expensive.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Suji, we met from LinkedIn because your slogan is the American calling into the UK market.
Yes.
And then I think we then connected and had a chat, and then we've been kind of talking ever since. So the LinkedIn is definitely working for sure.
That's definitely how we met through LinkedIn, because you messaged me about the fact you were over and you were coming to obviously the SDR leaders and Mia. See, people say LinkedIn doesn't work. It bloody does work.
It does. Every time I go to a new city, that's how I make friends.
I love it. I love it.
Suji, where are you? Remind us, where you're based now?
Okay, so I have kind of a crazy story. I haven't really had a home base for the past year and a half, 2 years, to be honest, because I've been doing studying abroad, and then my boyfriend is Danish, so he's in Denmark. And so right now I'm in Denmark, but we're moving to Greece soon, actually, in Athens. So I'll be located in Athens on Sunday.
Nice. Whoa, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're just going to stay in
cold
UK.
Yeah, way better than here.
Way better.
Yeah.
It's hot. 4 degrees. It's going to rain at any minute.
Yeah, that's how Denmark is too. I'm from Minnesota in the US, and okay, in Celsius, it's pretty normal that it gets to -20. Very normal. Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, people can't see. Me and Harry are quite literally grimacing. That is awful.
I'm struggling with 4 degrees and it being this dark all the time.
Yeah,
let alone being -20.
Yeah, I will say, London is different. I remember when I went there, I could feel it in my bones. I was shivering. I was like, I never want to come back. It's too cold.
It's true. Everyone says this. People think that we're dramatic, but the UK cold is a different type of cold.
Yeah.
It is. It's nasty. It gets in you. You know, it's not.
That's a very British thing to say. Our cold is better than your cold.
Hey, I'm saying it's worse.
Your cold is a little, what do you guys say, cheeky? Would that be how you use it?
I'm not sure that's how we would use it, but yeah, that is something that we do say. And people in the US, The people in the US always, I remember saying cheeky for the first time in the US and they were like, what? What does that
Yeah.
mean?
My
And now
favorite,
Love Island's made it really big.
yeah,
Yeah.
is I love saying lovely jubbly to the US, my US colleagues. I'm like, oh, that's lovely jubbly. And they're like, okay,
I
that's
have
so
never
It's
heard
British.
that.
jubbly.
Oh, I love it. Harry, how's it been first week back?
Oh, exhausting. Like I I feel like I really didn't know what to do between like the first like the week of Christmas all the way to New Year's. Like I was a bit lost with everything. And I think like it's just impossible, I think, for BDRs to build momentum in that time other than like clean everything up. So it's like you want to do a load of training, but you're like, you've had a good run and a difficult year. Like, do we just be very relaxed with it? And so um, we've come back and I'm in Boston next week for kickoff. And then I've got kickoff with the EMEA and APAC team in London. So I've got back-to-back weeks of kickoff. But it's been extremely busy. Like everything is being finalized for second week of Jan. So everything should come to fruition. But it's been good. It's nice being back into a routine. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree. I like being back in routine. I've accepted that I'm a routine person. I can't be a go with the wind girly. I've acknowledged that. I have to go to bed on time because if I don't, then it's a mess. So I do like being back in routine, and I'd say same, very busy. I went for the quiet approach over Christmas with the team. Pretty much all of them were off. Like I had basically no one working at
Yeah,
PTO.
yeah.
So I was like, well, those that are working, like I'm just gonna let them like redo their sequences, like get themselves prepared for Q1 rather than like make them do training and work. So, but then
Yeah.
it meant that coming back, it was like, right, you have to lock in immediately. Like you've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
no time. There's no time to wait. Like get on the phone, get talking, have conversations, book meetings, and having a good week already. It's
Yeah, I have
great.
to say, I thought it was going to be a lot slower this week than it actually has been. It's actually been picked up quite well, which is good.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Suji? How's it been? First week back?
It's been like extremely busy. My calendar's kind of back to back. At least when the US time zone wakes up, it's like very back to back. Even
Yeah.
like honestly during European time zone after like 12 p.m., it's also very busy. So, an adjustment.
Nice. Was you working in that gap between Christmas and New Year, or did you take a bit of time off?
I took time off. I relaxed a
Nice.
bit. I was doing more like, yeah, like what you guys mentioned, like cleanup admin type of work, not any like outbound activities or really taking any meetings. I took a couple meetings like here and there, but like very, very minimal. I really used it to reset, which was nice.
Nice. I love
Nice.
that. That
Nice.
sounds great. So,
Yeah.
should we kick off? We've got some
Yeah,
topics,
yeah,
haven't we?
yeah.
Topic one.
um, Suji, so we're on this theme of outbound for this series. So
hmm
what is your like outbound hack that you like go and like would die on a hill for essentially?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. First I will say I love cold calling. Cold calling is like always my number one. But my like outbound hack after cold calling, I always talk about this, is sending out LinkedIn video messages. Because not many people get these. It's like not as common. It's gotten like more common over the past couple of years. But when they open up their DM and they see a video, it's like, I kind of want to see what it is. Like, what is this person trying to tell me? So I think it's the best way to perform outbound. And it works really well in the UK market, I've noticed, because people are like, oh, that's different. I haven't seen that. And so I love doing it. And then if they don't respond and it's in the UK market, I'm always like, sorry, should I have done it in a British accent instead? And then they always respond.
I
Ah,
like that. I like that. So Suji, what does that
Mhm.
video framework or script, whatever you want to call it, look like? Because I think if someone is wanting to get started with that, where do you think works?
Yeah, so it's essentially the same as what you would say on a cold call with your pitch. So you want to lead with like who you are, like since it's a video, you want to lead with who you are, why you're reaching out, but then right away like dig into their pain points and why you want to have a conversation with them. And I always end with like if you're not interested, totally fine. I promise it won't hurt my feelings. Let's still stay connected, because who knows, maybe they'll be interested down the road. You don't want to burn any bridges or anything. But always kind of go the same path as you would go if you were having like an actual cold call and you were pitching. Same exact thing. Like, hey, I'm Suji. I lead go to market at Trellis. I'm reaching out because I saw XYZ and I thought that I could help with XYZ and would love to throw some time on your calendar. Kind of just get straight to the point. But building a brand definitely helps with that, because you have something backing you up, and then you can also go based off of something you've seen on them, on like their page, and they've maybe seen you pop up on their feed too. So that's also important.
Yeah.
So those observation points that you normally go to for like, I had noticed this, or I've come to the assumption of this. Like, what are there particular, I call them like research buckets that you tend to go to find information. So I'm assuming for you, it's like growing your team, or you've got maybe some new hires, or it's a new person within a role. But do you have like a couple of like points that you always go to research using in those like video observations?
Yes, definitely. So the first that I try and go off of is, a lot of times when I reach out to people, it's because someone told me I should reach out to them. So almost like a referral, but not like a direct referral, because they're maybe not close enough to be able to make that introduction, right? So then I'll say, I've heard that you're struggling with, finding a power dialer for this specific CRM, which we support. So something like that was a meeting that I had booked a few weeks ago, was like a friend just telling me, hey, at my company, we don't have a power dialer inside of Close. I think you should reach out to the manager. Don't tell him that I said anything though. And so I go based off of that, and I just said, I heard from someone on your team that you're struggling with this. So I always try and lead with something like a more warm type of connection without mentioning the person if I can. If I can't do that, then I'll go to their LinkedIn page, and like you said, I always try and look for if they have open roles specifically for like an SDR or BDR. And if they do, then I go and look at the job description and try and find if they're cold calling, because not all teams cold call, which is absolutely insane, right?
That's outrageous.
Yeah,
Come on.
honestly,
2025. Oh, we're
Right.
26.
Yeah.
26. Like, come on.
Yeah. Also, it's like when I call into the UK market, they're always the ones who are like, oh, we don't do any cold calling. You guys gotta like, kick some
No.
nonsense
That doesn't
into
surprise
them.
me. I think the UK market's got far more pathetic since GDPR.
Soft.
We've gone soft. We've gone all
Yes.
wet wipes. Absolutely wet wipes, a lot of them. Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a different attitude to cold calling in the UK in comparison to the US. But sorry, we derailed there. Back to
No.
job specs.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, then I always just like look at if they're actually making dials, and like sometimes a job description will say like make 100 calls a day, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that'll be a good lead. Like we'll be able to help them execute that faster. So those are key points that I look at for Trellis, because Trellis, we're like a power/parallel dialer primarily.
And if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, feel free.
Yes, because I have all the money.
Yeah, they feel like we will say whatever they want us to say. All right?
Okay. You can both buy, and then I will.
Yeah. That was literally our tech stack episode, was us just going through like, so I like this tool. If you'd like to sponsor this podcast.
Literally. We love
Why
a lot of
not?
tools here.
Yes.
So that is that like a default process for you then, to go and try and find someone within the team that you can find some information out? Because I did that back at Sixth Sense, and it was really powerful, of like going to basically AEs and SDRs and being like, hey, what the hell is going on over there? Like, what are the problems? And then take that to the manager. Whereas I feel like now selling like a cybersecurity, like people are a lot less receptive to telling me the stuff that is going wrong. But
Right.
is that like your go-to thing every time, is just trying to find everything within the team?
That's what I like to do. I think it's like probably also different for me because I post a lot of LinkedIn content around sales and cold calling. So I already have a lot of their team following me, and I think they're more responsive to me, and maybe also think like, oh, it's kind of fun being able to work with someone that we've seen, and like I don't know, try to just give like the good company vibes and like be friends with everyone is honestly like the way that I go. Kind of weird, but it works.
Yeah, 100%.
Harry's got a good, like, that's a good point from both of you where I think industry matters.
Yes.
Like, I think when someone reaches out to me as a salesperson and says like, hey, I want to reach out to someone in your organization about this, like, is it worth it? I'm happy to say, yeah, no, this is what we're dealing with, because I'm in sales. So I know that having that little nugget can make the difference.
Right.
But we reach out to like heads of e-com directors, all the rest of it. With similar situation to for your team, Harry, like they will call someone that will be like an assistant or, you know, very low in the field, like in the hierarchy in the company.
Yeah.
And they don't really want to give. They're like, oh, sorry, like, I don't think I can talk about that. And it's like, babe, I'm not asking for your bank details. Like, I'm just asking whether or not you're experiencing this problem. But I think it depends, obviously, one, how you go about the conversation. And then two, industry. Like, it's not easy saying to salespeople because I think, if anything, we're the worst critics to salespeople when they're calling us. So I don't think it's easier to sell to salespeople. But I can see how that strategy is like, would work so well for you, Suji. But we're definitely in the same position as you, Harry. Like, I've not found it be completely successful.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna try something out this year where we actually go to another department. Again, for a password manager, everyone should be using a password manager. But in theory, it's primarily it's always owned by IT almost 95% of the time. There's some teams that own their own environment because they're dealing with super secure, basically, credentials, and they're having to share loads around the team. But of that 5%, we've got basically two departments that essentially are like the primary buyers of the platform outside of IT. So we're going to start calling into those teams to see what they do for it, and then take that to IT. But again, that's really difficult. I think it's going to be difficult to get the amount of wins that I think it could produce. But I think it's going to be a really interesting exercise this year of finding out like a sub department to then take information, because I think a lot of the time that's what I'm finding now works within Outbound. Is it's how do you educate your potential buyer, your prospect, about something that they didn't know within their environment.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that approach. It's very, very value add.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to someone and you go, oh, we work with your competitor. I mean, like, literally, it's like sometimes that's the easiest meeting. Just, totally. Hey, do you want to see what their setup looks like? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Let's do that.
No, I'm excited. You have to let us know how that works out, Harry. I'm keen to...
Yeah, we'll come back to it for sure.
You were mentioning, Suji, about power and obviously like parallel dialing. So I don't use you guys, sorry, but we do power and parallel dialing. Yes. And I won't name them out of the love of my heart. I won't say who. And I think it's great. So I do love it. The team love it. It does mean they can get through their dials. But one thing that I would say we come up against that I'm thinking you should be an expert in this, so maybe you can give some top tips, is we work on an account-based model. So all of my reps are given 300 accounts for the quarter. So they don't self-source their accounts. And once they have those accounts, that's it. They can't add, they can't take away. They've got the 300 accounts. And so obviously you've got 2 to 3 people minimum per account. So realistically, at minimum, they're going to have like 600. Ideally, they're going to have about 900 people that they can call. And what they find is that obviously at the start of a quarter, they've got fresh accounts. And so power dialing is quite easy, and parallel dialing is easy because they're new people. They haven't spoke to them yet. They've not been told no or yes or anything like that. But once they get partway through the quarter, obviously they've spoke to most people at this point. Like, there's a few that still haven't picked up. By that point, they're probably not going to pick up all the rest of it. And that's where we find parallel and power dialing dropping off, and there's no point in using it, and you may as well be strategic in who you're dialing. Go back to one-off calling, very research cold calls, no sort of like going in and having a sprint. And I'd love to know, one, if you're on a similar model, and then two, like, have you seen that for your customers? Like, have you got any advice on maybe how we can utilize the tools like that towards the end? Because that's like a big thing that we come up against. So I'm really keen.
Yeah, I think it's actually super important, like, A, what industry you're in too, because, and also where you're calling into, like calling into the UK versus like the US, the pickup rates are going to be different on if you like power versus parallel dial. But what I always say is, like, if you want to do more research, like, I don't think that's bad. I think that's like a good thing to do before you go into your calls, especially like you said, when you're getting towards the end of the quarter. So what I always recommend doing is power dialing, and then I don't know if whatever you're using can do this, but you can on Trellis. You can set up like a certain amount of time in between your calls, and then like go over the account and research it. So you could have like, I don't know, 45 seconds, and then essentially like Trellis, we're inside the CRM. So like let's say you're inside of HubSpot, you'll have 45 seconds to look over the contact card in HubSpot. Maybe you want to go to their website, maybe you want to go to their LinkedIn, you want to use like the research tool, find some more information on them. You can do that before actually getting connected into the call, but that way you're still saving time by not having to like go in and like click to dial or do too much research.
End up
Right.
going down a rabbit hole. Yeah. That's a great feature.
Exactly.
I like that. No, interesting. Okay, I like it.
This becomes a demo.
Yes.
You're like, hang on a damn minute. She's selling to me.
I actually
Nice. No,
started
that
using
makes sense. I
Trellis.
like that.
Yeah. I was using
No,
Trellis
that's
before
clear.
working here, so that's why I like it a lot.
I think that's
But
nice. I think it's nice when Harry, this was you at Sixth Sense. Like, you actually are selling a product you genuinely really like as well. Like, I think it's so nice. Our product's fucking sick, but obviously I don't work in e-com, so I'm never going to be actively needing to use Swap. But we like what I sell. But yeah, I think when you're selling something that you actually use, I think that's fun. I like that.
yeah, for sure.
Nice. That's really good. Thanks.
Suji, with we discussed this on our tech stack episodes where I was saying that I think the way that dialers are kind of changing the way that we approach some of the sequencing. Like, I'm interested to get your take on like how you think having a dialer changes, I guess, the front end of the setup of like how you actually are going to market, because in essence you can touch more people in a shorter amount of time while increasing the amount of conversations.
Yeah. I think it adds another strategic move, because when you're using a dialer, you're going to be able, yeah, like you said, to talk to more people in a shorter amount of time. So you're getting more conversations in, especially when you're dialing into like the US market specifically, where pickup rates are like 5%, like super, super low, especially compared to the UK. It's way higher. You guys are lucky. Um, but it's just going to give you like an extra strategy that you can use, because I think when you have a new rep coming on that has maybe very little experience cold calling, the best way they're going to get better is by actually just going and ripping a bunch of dials. And they're going to get better a lot faster if you just maybe give them a list, like an old list that you maybe don't care about as much, and they just go and parallel dial and have a bunch of conversations. They're going to improve a lot faster than someone who's just going through manually dialing, doing 25 calls an hour, and maybe doing a lot of research, getting nervous between each call. Parallel dialing, it's like you're just getting in, you're getting those conversations, you're getting warmed up, your voice is a lot better, and you're going to gain confidence a lot faster. So in that aspect, it's better. And then also being strategic about when you parallel dial versus when you power dial, because a big thing people say is, oh, we have like these special accounts, I don't want to parallel dial on them, I only want to power dial, I actually want to manually dial even, right? Because I need to do
I hear
research.
that a lot.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, it's like, okay, cool, love that. Like, you should have those special accounts. But I always recommend having one list with accounts where maybe you're trying to break into a new industry, a new ICP, see if it works. Have that account, warm up with that every day, parallel dial, build that confidence, handle those objections, and then go over to your list where you power dial and set the time in between to do research on the company. It's all about just like adding an extra strategic lift, and a lot of people are very against like power versus parallel because it's like you're not researching as much, but you still can. You need to be strategic about it. You need to do everything, just like multi-channel. You can't only do one approach, you got to do it all. That's how I
Yeah.
feel with
And
like dialing.
and with that, do you think that there has to be different sequences developed as part of this? Because the where my question comes from is like in my head, if I was to buy a dialer, the way that I'm thinking about it is because I can do number rotation,
Hmm.
I could technically call someone 10 times in 10 days with 10 different numbers.
Yeah.
And you almost have a call first approach, assuming that calling is the preferred channel. And Lauren and I have spoken about like even like a warm-up sequence of like a 9 by 9. So it's 3 steps of LinkedIn, 3 emails, and 3 calls that allows you to very quickly work out which channel someone is more receptive on. But
Mm.
we were also discussing about like going into for the sequencing episode, like in my head, I'd love to do like 14 calls in 14 days, a afternoon call and maybe sorry, a morning and an afternoon call with then a LinkedIn strategy that is completely different, and then a email strategy, because we were speaking about even like LinkedIn is kind of like 4 steps. Email, you probably need like an email bump, email bump bump, email bump, and then it goes into a nurture anyway. So
Hmm.
um is that something that you're thinking about with your customers, or is that just me being a freak and like trying to get how many calls in how many days?
uh, that's a good question. I think doing both is really good because like having like always having a list where you just go through and rip and dial, I think is really good just to like always warm up your voice. But then having that list where you're like power dialing, I like running a campaign on that list. And when I call
What
them,
do you mean by that?
yeah, so setting up like some sort of sequence where, yeah, maybe like what you're talking about, how I usually like to do it is like LinkedIn, email, call, or LinkedIn, call, email. And then whenever I give them a call, always reference the last touch point. And then if you leave a voicemail, you can say, like, you don't need to give me a call back if you don't want to. You can shoot me a text or you can refer to my LinkedIn or my email message that I already sent. That way it's like low effort. People usually don't respond to like voicemails unless they can see the transcript. So that's also important.
Do you include call steps in your sequences or campaigns, or do you keep them completely separate?
I include call steps.
Oh, okay, interesting. See, one thing that since we've got like a power dialer, we actually don't include calling in our campaigns. So our campaigns are
Okay.
purely built from LinkedIn and email, and that's like that's that side of it. And then
Yeah.
calling is entirely separate. So similar to
Interesting.
what you were saying, they've built different lists. Like they've got their like tier 3 list where like you just bash it out wherever. Then they've got
Mm-hmm.
their like personalized lists based on previous conversations, research, etc., etc. And then they go in and they choose who they're calling based off that list. I think there's a place for both because I feel
Yeah,
like there's a higher chance of forgetting to call someone if you don't have them in a sequence. But I think
that's
I was just fascinated to know kind of like how you do that as someone that obviously literally lives and breathes in a calling tool. So
yeah.
that's really
Yeah, it's definitely important to do both. And I think like the biggest thing also comes down to preference. Like at the end of the day, like what is your SDR going to actually do to execute the calls? Just setting it up that way for them. Like for instance, for me, it's listening to music as I dial.
nice.
uh,
I have done that, but I get so distracted by the music.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm
High School
a
Musical on in the
quiet
background. I'm like,
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So you've mentioned before, and I know you've said it, that like you find that people have like quite controversial takes on like power
Yes.
dialing, parallel dialing. What's the
Yes.
most like insane thing that you've ever heard about it that you're
I
always
mean,
like, no?
yeah, I mean, a lot of people, are like, the bridge time is so bad. It takes so long. And okay,
3 seconds.
yeah, no, I'm like, to be fair, like, majority of the dialers out there are relatively similar on their bridge time. Like, I'm going to say that first of all. Second of all, if the bridge time is really long consistently, it's typically the rep, because it's the rep not going in fast enough because they're not used to parallel dialing, which is totally fine. Like, it takes a little bit to get used to, but it's knowing like it's the rep. And then another thing is like people saying that that they research for 30 minutes, like per lead, 30 minutes. I'm sorry, but anything over 5 minutes, you're just wasting a lot of time.
Honestly, a BDR manager's nightmares. Whenever my reps, they'll be like, "How long have you spent on that account?" And they know that I'm about to turn it off because they go, oh, well, the thing is, and then they'll start giving me all the excuses as to why they were allowed to spend like an hour on an
Yes.
account. And I'm like, no, like, what are you doing? If you
Yeah.
can't find something within 10 minutes, then don't personalize. Like, just
Yeah.
just call them and find out, like, what are you doing? So
Right.
frustrating.
I think people with ADHD and dyslexia are the perfect combo for BDRing researching, because the ADHD, you just get disinterested really quickly from reading, and then with the dyslexia you're like, I don't want to read anything, I don't want to do anything. So like that's why as a BDR I never did any research. I'd just be like, oh, they do this for a job, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Though, I
The,
say this to my
the
rep.
company website looks great.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just call them up and have a
Yeah.
conversation. You're gonna
Yeah.
find out the information. Like, if you
Yeah.
just ring them and say, like, for us, it'd be like, hey, like, do you currently include duties and taxes at the checkout for your customers? They'll then go to you, yes, or they'll go, no. There you go. You've got the
Exactly.
answer.
There you
And now you
go.
can have a conversation off the
Yeah.
back of that response. But I get the feeling of wanting to feel prepared and that you know what you're going into. But I completely agree. I can see how, like, why people would be opposed to power dieting when they're obsessed with like large amounts of research. But I
Yeah.
agree, it's silly. They shouldn't be doing it.
Right. And some people think like, oh, our team spends a lot of time researching. Like, some people I have called are like, we spend way too much time researching. Like, that would just not work in our industry. Like, they act like they're too good for it. And I'm like, okay. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you're gonna be able to have so many more conversations and like develop your skills better too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just about literally just like go and get it done. And that's like how you'll get better. That's how I see it, is like go fail a bajillion times and then you'll be amazing.
Yeah. I
That's
think
what I like it.
my take on the dialer stuff is it's the efficiency of prospecting that is probably the biggest upskill that needs to happen in order to get the most out of the tool. Because if you're going from like
Mm-hmm.
50 dials a day up to 150 dials a day, filling the top of the funnel of your your sales engagement platform so that you can consistently got a level of rotation there. I think that is
Totally.
the hardest bit,
Yeah.
because I've got reps that it can take them an hour to do 20 to 15 prospects. Whereas what you need is to be getting into like a 50 to 100 per hour ratio, which is hard, especially if you are someone that likes to do a bit more research. You are a company that has shit data. Like, it
Yeah.
can make it really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Totally.
I agree. Okay, I'm gonna do a little pivot before we think about wrapping. Suji,
Yes.
we mentioned it at the intros, but obviously you met us both through LinkedIn. You love LinkedIn.
Yes.
I love LinkedIn. I'd say it all the time. I love LinkedIn. Harry also loves LinkedIn, and we're trying to get him more into his LinkedIn since we've got the podcast. Oh, Harry.
I missed yesterday's post. It's like back to like, it's like, you know, all these people that are doing like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 1, day 2. I'm like, I'm back to day 1 again.
Yeah,
I
that's
missed
constantly
yesterday. I
hard.
got way too distracted with my
But
own
I
stuff.
also know that Suji, me and Harry are also big on this as communities. Like we
Mhm.
were both original members of SGRs of London when it was founded 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
6 now, I think.
6 now, yeah, 20 years, just for 2020 was it?
Yeah.
So we're big, like that's how me
7.
and Harry met. Like, we met through that and all the rest of it. So we love it. I know you also love community. What is it that I just wanted to, hear from you, especially as you're remote, you're in other countries.
Mm.
What is like some of the biggest things you've taken away from being a part of some of the sales communities?
Yeah, I have always been like this actually. Like when I was in university, I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I started the sales club there, and I noticed I got so much out of it.
Who, who, who knows that they want to be in sales like at the start of like uni? Come on. Like we've already been joking about like you taking a sales internship, but to start a community in sales is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
was one
love
of
it.
like those weirdos that already knew it from the get-go. I just like I saw what the salaries could be, and I was like, ooh, okay, yeah, I want to travel too. So
Yeah, nice. That's a
no,
smart gal. I like it.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
like
yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
but I saw like just from that alone and like my university in general, our alumni network was so strong, and I noticed there's so much about like being in part of clubs. Like that's how I got internships, meeting people, our alumni network. And then graduating, it's like you need to take that up a level. So during my senior year actually, um that's when I started doing LinkedIn. It was like kind of very subtle in the beginning. I'm sure kind of like you guys maybe started out, or maybe it's just me, I don't know. But just like very subtle, like I got very nervous, like, oh, what are people going to think of me? All the typical thoughts. And I was like, whatever, I'm just going to do it. And then I started reaching out to people like I met someone who's like from Ireland, and I did like a calling blitz with him. And then I started doing like Zoom calls with people, like virtual coffee chats. And then I found like, oh, there are also Slack communities. That's cool. And then that's where I joined SDR Leaders of EMEA. That's how I met you, Lauren. So I think like LinkedIn just goes such a long way beyond like just being able to close deals. It's so great for that too. But you build a
Hmm.
community, you make friends on LinkedIn, and then later down the road, that can also lead to deals. Like there are people that I've just become friends with on LinkedIn who give me referrals, and I'm like, wow, that's super nice of you. So there's just so much that can be like taken from LinkedIn. And I'm sure this goes for all social media platforms out there. It's just LinkedIn is the one closest related to like business. But there's so much not just from like closing deals, but like actually having people in your network that you can learn from.
Oh, I
That's what I
Yeah,
love.
completely agree. This is what
completely
I
agree.
say. LinkedIn's not, yeah, okay. It's a business platform. Yes, you can meet people for deals.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, so much more than that. I completely agree.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly.
It is mental. Like me, I mean, me and Lauren joke, but like we probably between the both of us, we've got like a collective group of friends that are people that we would call friends who we know
Yeah,
from LinkedIn. Like I met Lauren through what like a LinkedIn WhatsApp group. Like
yeah,
that's how we know each other. And then like 6 years down the line, we're doing a podcast together.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it does come around. It is actually crazy. But
It is.
so just before we kind of wrap up, as someone that has, I suppose, moved through different countries and has like gone into starting their own kind of LinkedIn and joining communities, if someone wanted to get started today, what would be your tips for one, starting to post on LinkedIn, and two, where do you find like communities? Where would you start? Would start basically building up your network a little bit.
Yeah, totally. So I would say just start posting. Like, it doesn't matter if you post something absolutely terrible. I still remember my very first, like, LinkedIn influencer post was just me with my headset and a cup of coffee being like, coffee and cold calls. That was literally it. Like, that was it. That was my
Yeah.
caption. That was literally my caption, maybe a couple hashtags, but that was literally my caption. And it's like, just don't care what people think. And this has also been kind of my mindset from going abroad is like, I don't really care. The people that know me know me. If people don't like me, if they think I'm weird, whatever. I don't want to be friends with them anyway if they're going to be like that. I'm going to meet so many other people. But then in addition to that, when you see people that you like, that you're engaging with, or maybe people who are engaging with you, go and reach out to them and set up a coffee chat. Like, there's no reason not to. You should just go and do it because why not? Like, you get to have another friend in your network. And then for finding like those Slack communities, honestly, I found them through other people's pages and just Googling like sales Slack communities or women in sales groups. So that's how I found a lot of them. And then I just try and ask questions in there. Sometimes I pop a question in there being like, hey, is anyone open to have a coffee chat? Because there's just so much to learn from other people. There's so many amazing people in the world that you can learn from. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, a lovely way to wrap up the app. That was lovely. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed that conversation. I also come away with some good stuff there.
Can I just say that this is our first one? So like, Lauren, you can say it. I really enjoyed that. That was amazing. But it's also our first one.
Yeah, so basically what Harry's saying is that Suji is the best one so far. But
yeah, it is the best one so far.
Thank
that
you.
is the best Outbound series podcast we've ever done.
You don't have to say that just because I'm here, you know?
Yeah, we'll stop the recording. We'll tell you the real feedback in a second. Don't you worry.
I did. I like that. What about you, Harry? How did you find
this is great. It's do you know what? It brings a different dynamic to like how we film and stuff like that and how we chat. But no, Suji, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you allocating the time.
You.
Hopefully we'll bring you back for a part 2 at some point in one of the other series.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And if you love this podcast, make sure you actually give us a follow. And also rate us 5 stars. We need to get some ratings and followers up in here. So if you like us, follow us, please, and give us a rating so that we can, I don't know, get more discovered.
Yes, of course.
It's time, Harry. It's time.
And curiosity. Come on.
I feel like I've already done that. I don't know, though.
Well, I feel like I haven't even given ourselves 5 stars yet. So there's
I don't know if you can on Spotify.
No, you can, but you have to listen to the full episode. But I have to listen to them to edit them. So there's no point me listening to what I've already just listened to because I've just edited it.
Whereas I'm on LinkedIn content, so I get to do that.
Yeah, so we've got different roles within this podcast.
Yeah. Nice. So anyway, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks
for listening. Bye.
Bye.